Stargate Voyager.
You brought up energy.
Mhm.
Tell our audience your favorite pieces of information about the energy of Machu Picchu in these sites and how that relates to the Intihuatanas.
We, well, now I know why the Incas they did in Tihuatana in Machu Picchu. Is a secret, this thing, but I will share with you. The Incas they used to care of one special mummies, especially the elongated mummies. They used to put in the gates and the portals. These elongated mummies they were living with the Incas per thousands years, and they were the teachers. They were the professors of the Incas. The Incas they did Machu Picchu through a two natural geological faults. Why? The people they ask why they did through about the natural faults, because they knew very well too this is a connection between the two energies, the sun and the planet, female and male. And they called to this meeting they call Yananting, Masinting. This is in the Quechua language. That's the reason they did the Intihuatanas, because the Intihuatanas are forget the energy of the sun and for provide to the planet that energy for keep green the area. That is the reason they did Intihuatanas. No, it's only a sun watcher or only because to pray the sun or only to pray the energy. No, it's an special area where the sun pass the energy, and this top of the mountain he get that energy and he passed through the natural magnetic force to the earth. And that's the reason when the Spanish they come to Cusco, I hear one history, one legend of the people from here. They say between professors and between teachers in Machu Picchu, because in Machu Picchu used to live only Incas professors and Incas teachers, Incas priests and queens or ladies priests. They used to live together, and they talk together, asking if they will left to pass to the Spanish to Machu Picchu or not. And they say no. They put an artifact and make with the stones to always get rain, to always have rain in this area. That's the reason the Spanish they were looking for the golden city El Dorado, and they never found it because they were looking only the gold, but they don't were looking for the city of the sun, that is Machu Picchu. Yes, there.
Fascinating. Okay, so you said a bunch there that is probably blowing the minds of my listeners and my mind. So, okay, we've got Machu Picchu, the lost city, the golden city. It's like a citadel on the mountain. It's just mind-blowing, right? A lot of people
Yes.
don't realize that 90% of what you see at Machu Picchu is what we would call the Inca construction. It's the small stones with mortar. But as you look close, it's all built on top of what looks like a much older megalithic foundation that could be 10,000 BC, as crazy as that sounds. So you've got that, but then you've got the Inca. And when we say Inca, that really means the ruling class. It wasn't the whole civilization. So I want to go
Yes.
back to, you said the Inca, the ruling class, were up on Machu Picchu. They likely built on top of the older foundations, but
Yes.
their teachers, their professors wore these elongated skull humanoids. And these are the mummies we find in the skeletons in Paracas and Waikiki, the humanoid we saw at the museum. Massive elongated skulls, huge eye sockets. There is no way these are just genetically humans. Tell us more about who this race was and what it was like. Are you saying some of them were actually alive during the time of the Inca?
Yes, some of them they were still living between the Incas. We must understand to these professors and to these teachers they were living with the Incas. They were the priest class. They were the professors. The Incas they were a political time. It was the political time of the Incas. But these professors, they were living through different civilizations. They were living through Wari. They were living through Tiwanaku. They were living through Paracas. All they were the same, developing his mind, developing his technology, especially to work with the energy. I found lots of artifacts, moon artifacts, sun artifacts, mathematical artifacts, everything made on stones. All of them, they work with the shadows of the sun, with the shadows of the moon, with the shadows of the stars. All of them, and it's difficult to believe to all was made by the indigenous. It's very difficult. So the more a safe thing to the people, even to the other tour guides and other to elder people to are living through Peru, they believe now they were made by the professors, by the elongated head people. They
Yeah.
did all of it.
You're saying you believe the elongated skulled humanoids actually built, are you saying built the megalithic constructions?
Yes,
Yes.
of course, yes, because
Yeah.
they do elongated head people. They got that technology to make above the natural geological fells, knowing to the energy of the planet is coming from there to be a connection with the sun. They
Right.
did a kind of map, and it was in Cusco called Seques, no, and it was working with the stars and also with the magnetic, no, is the natural formation of the planet, no, the connection of the planet, and they did his wakas on the top of this. They don't did his wakas, his altars everywhere or in the top of the mountain. No, they did always in the top of the natural formation of the natural geological faults.
Right. And when you say these wakas, these are these wakas are different than the Intihuatanas, correct? The wakas are like these what looks like a megalithic altar that you just find all over the Cusco highlands, correct?
Yes, probably the most thing to I understood is from the one it was in the whole America. It was one ancient civilization to use to control all. This super civilization, I don't know where is the capital. Some people they say it was in Tiwanaku. Did all of these temples following the geological map, the geological faults of the planet. They did to his pyramids everywhere. And the chacana, that symbol, this is the secret, this is the key. I know now to this chacana is the key, it's a map. That map of chacana took you to Machu Picchu.
I had a revelation, if that's an appropriate word, of on this last trip of the Chacana and the Intihuatanas and the Huacas that you're mentioning. And if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you're going to see video and photos of what we're talking about.
Mhm.
So you have a visual. But Rumi, I loved you being our tour guide because you were pointing out all these huacas and all these hidden symbolism that your average tourist would totally miss if they were just with some normal tour. So thank you so much. I want to go back to again the elongated skulled what I call humanoids, because this is big stuff we're talking about here. You're saying that you
Sure.
believe the elongated skulled humanoids that we now still see mummies of in Paracas and at the what's that museum called where Waiki's located?
It is Andahuaylias Museum. It's
Okay.
in Andahuaylias. Uh-huh.
So you're saying this ruling class, you believe, built the megalithic structures with lost ancient technology. Um, I want to ask you about the elongated skull at that museum. It's known as the Waiki alien or the Waiki humanoid because you told me something that blew my mind because I had seen it before on my last trip to Peru. This massive elongated skulled mummy, but it's got this you can see not just a hole in its head, but what looks like it was cut out. And you were sharing the legends of why there's a hole in its head. It's because it had a golden device that
Yes,
enabled it to communicate with the gods. Tell us more about that.
I will revelate something. When the Spanish they went to these Huacas, I was reading through a books of the Sarmiento de Gamboa, ancient Spanish chronics. To the Incas, they used to go to the Huacas to talk with his gods. One of these days, one of these Spanish went to see what happened. Why this? They go to the caves or they go to the Huacas. And when he went over there, he heard one of the Incas talking with the Huacas, talking with the mummies. And I heard the history today used to put in the elongated heads, they used to make chirurgies to the head to incrustated gold, especially in the top of the some babies, because they were oracles. They were able to connect with the gods or with the with the aliens probably.
And
No,
that's
they used to be
in,
able
in
to talk with the sky.
right. So
Mhm.
the even during the Inca time, at all of these ancient sites or huacas, one of my favorite sites is Nuapa Iglesia, right?
Mhm.
It's the what I call the megalithic cave of mystery.
Wow.
And at that cave where there's this megalithic like portal carved into the side of the mountain, you were revealing to us how even in the Inca time in the 1400s, in the back of that cave, they would pull out this elongated skull mummy. And on the solstice, I think it's June 21st, correct?
Mhm.
They would
Ye-
place they would place the mummy in the portal or Stargate cutout, and it would basically they would use it as an oracle to communicate with the gods. It would speak even though it was a dead mummy, correct?
Yes, I discovered something very interesting reading the books. To why in 21 of June the spirit of these people used to come, because Orion Belt constellation becomes as a feline to give to give the energy to the lives. And it's possible to see only during 21 of June, during the day, this Orion Belt constellation. And how we know that? Thank you to one mestizo, one Inca chronist from the 16th century. He drew something very interesting to later in the future probably will share you the imagine to is giving the life or the spirit to the mummies, to the elongated mummies, to make them alive, especially during this day. And that's the reason the Incas they used to go through these windows to talk with them. And I say what I read. No, it's not my invention. People believe. Sometimes people because I share photos and videos also in Facebook, and some people they say no, this is not a dimensional gate. But when you look in the Inca beliefs, you will find it's true. Those Incas they were able to talk with the mummies, especially in 21 of June and 21 of December. 21 of June is because the portals, the spiritual gates, are open to Orion Belt. That is representing by the felines, by the pumas or by the jaguars, or could be lions. And 21 of December is the feather snake, is the summer solstice. In these two dates, in these two especially days, the portals to the constellations open. Mhm.
Fascinating. I think one of my favorite parts of our tour was when we were at Napa Iglesia and the majority of the group had left and went back down the mountain. And again, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you're going to see which side I'm talking about. But this is a megalithic cave located high in the Andes Mountains. You have to do quite a hike up to this cave in the mountains, and inside is what looks like a megalithic portal. The crazy part is when most of the group had left, there was still a minister of tourism up there, a watchdog watching us. I better be careful what I'm saying, but basically he let us go up into the back of that cave.
Yes.
And and I'm going to do a feature video on this, which will feature Rumi. But we got to go into the back of this cave, and I was overwhelmed with just the history that was, I guess, standing on my shoulders as we were in the back of the cave where the Inca were hiding these mummies. And you also pointed out that there was hidden megalithic walls underneath and everything. So I can't wait to get that video out. I was blown away when we went to the Moon Temple. I think it was the Templo da Luna, and you took us into it was like the secret chamber where there was an altar inside and the light was shining through the top. Tell us
Oh
more
yeah.
about that.
After I finished the tour with you, I got back with a one elder man, un maestro, a Peruvian maestro. I went inside with another jungle maestro, Peruvian maestro. We went to explore, to see. And in the first time, I knew very well to this Temple of the Moon works with the moon, of course. But later, this maestro, he teach me what is this. He told me there is a stone in the front of this, looks like an eye, the Temple of the Moon. You know very well, no? And he told me this is a kind of artifact. When you stop in the other stone, if you know how to say some words or some mantras, your spirit can go inside of this and it can go wherever you want. And you remember the cuts in the top of one big stone? You remember, Derek? This is a brain. This is a big brain. In my second time I went there, I was watching. There is a stone like a one hand watching the big brain. That stone looks a big brain with lots. And in this part is the cut of the rock. And over there, I was watching per half an hour, and I understood the words. There is a something like a writing, like a QR in all of this, like a. And I asked to the professor, teacher, my friend Cucho is his name. Who did that? To the Incas did that? And he say, obviously no. Those artifacts, they were already here. He told me per thousands of years. He told me.
There's legends and oral traditions that when the Spanish arrived and conquered Cusco, and they asked the Inca who built this, even the Inca said, "We didn't build it; it was already here." Correct?
Yes, because some of the Wakas they were already there. Of course, they only the royal class they used to say, "No, I did. My ancestors did it." But even in the Incas legend say to the first Incas, they don't were like a normal people. They were with different powers. One of these Incas used to fly. The other one used to move mountains. His legends are like that, and I believe to the Inca descendants, especially to the that elongated heads, they were the real and original ancestors. Even before the Spanish they come to Peru, they were in a civil war. For which reason? For the mummies. One more time. For the
Okay.
mummies. No,
So you're saying the civil war between the Inca right as the Spanish are coming to conquer, that civil war was over. Who would get possession of these elongated skulled mummies?
yes, it was because they were two brothers. They were mummies everywhere of the last of the years because they were founding on the ground and they were putting on all the altars in all the temples the mummies. But the Atahualpa, the Inca from Ecuador, he said we want to keep the tradition because we come from these mummies. We are this. And Huascar, the other brother from the south, he was trying to change all that religion. He was trying to take out the mummies, to put all the mummies on the ground. That's the reason they were in a civil war because they
So do you
religion
believe, tell us real
purpose.
tell us real quick your theories on how you believe the ancient elongated skulled builder class built a lot of this? Was it with levitation technology? What kind of technology do you think enabled them to build these walls that feature 100 plus ton mortarless walls, blocks?
Well, there is a lots of buildings even under Cusco. There is lots of caves. And you saw when we went inside the Temple of the Moon, you saw glowing from the ground. The legends say there is a snake people cities inside of around Cusco and along the Andes. We call to these places chincanas, to these caves. There is a legend to one of the first Incas. In the Incas legends are the secrets. The first Inca, he got one instrument called Tupac Yauri. His God, he promised to him to remain a new city, looking for a new opportunity to refound a city. And he used that Tupac Yauri. It was a big stick, golden, made with gold, very special. And he threw to the center of Cusco according to the legend, and all the mountains were moving. And I was reading a new book, the Inca Foundation, and I probably am not sure completely that stick was powerful, used to have a power to cut the rocks, to move the stones. Because we went to the caves together, and when you saw the cut of the rocks, it looks like was made by machinery. It don't looks was made by hands. I was working with my father as a stone mason. We know very well how is to work with the stones, and you'd never give this shadow of the stones only with hands. You can give, but you always you see holes, little holes in the rocks. But like a vitrification or like a glass or like the glass, never. It's difficult. It's impossible with the indigenous technology. It's impossible. No, the ancient aliens. I don't know. I don't know how to call. They come one day and they left some professors and some teachers. They left here trying to help the indigenous, and they were trying to mix with the indigenous people. In his way, they deformate also the indigenous people. The indigenous people, when they saw the original, they were changing his heads. I was reading one interesting book about one interesting science that is called phrenologia. That phrenologia science changed the head of the people. For example, during that time, those professors, they used to change the people. If they wanted to be a militaries, they used to change, like they used to make grow the backside. And if they want the people or thinkers, they used to make grow the head like this, horizontal, no vertical, horizontal way. That's the reason there are two kind of human deformation. But the original, why the originals, they did that to the humans? This is something really intriguing. That changed also my mind. I say, why there are two different elongated heads? There is one with big, and the other one is like the ends. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
To change all those, even if they are even if they are artificial, made by people, even if they are modified by people, someone did.
Right.
Someone changed the head of the indigenous.
Right. Yeah. It's multi-layered. You've got the indigenous culture who was practicing cradle headboarding. But why were they doing it? They were emulating the original older class that had the natural elongated skulls that have so many genetic anomalies. There's no way it was just through head binding, right? You've got skulls with, some of them have what, almost 50% more cranial mass than ours.
Even they are heavier. Even they are heavier. They are not like our brains. Even if you look for the investigation of Brian Foster or other investigators like are in Peru, you will find in the bones, especially in the backside, they have a different bones. They are not similar than everybody. They have a kind of triangle in the backside of the head. Yes, there is a one Mister called Cabrera. It's the Mister Cabrera from Ica. He found an ancient rocks also close to these elongated heads. People with dinosaurs, people with making cyruses, people passing blood to other people. It's crazy, and I don't believe to this person did himself to cheat the people. He found 40,000 stones, and the Peruvian governments, they say always, no, there is not real. Always, when they found a new mummy that is different, they say, no, you are stealing, or
Yeah.
you robber. Or, mhm. This is the history of Peru.
How can people follow you and stay up to date with everything you're doing?
I have one Instagram. My Instagram is called Peru Megalithic. No, if you want to see the photos and some proofs, you can follow that.